Yes, guys, Ryjack back with another video. Today, we are looking at some transfer rumors, some Pep Guardiola rumors, which I know the season is still going on, but I like to discuss these sort of things, and I think it's relevant given that the Premier League is winding down as far as winning the title. It feels over for me. We're out of the Champions League. We've got the Carabao Cup final coming up, which live streamed right here on the channel for the game, a watch along. So come by Sunday for the game. And then you have the FA Cup, which we're in the quarterfinals. We'll see if we progress, but we've not really advanced to the final parts of that competition just yet. Still 8 teams left. Anyone can win that competition. Anyway, transfer rumors are something I really like. I like to dig in, take a look, give my opinion on them, and then talk to you guys in chat. So let me know in the comments, of course, your thoughts on the transfer rumors as well as the Pep Guardiola situation. Contracts running down. Is he leaving? Is he staying? There's a lot going on at the moment. So if you're new, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and like I said, leave a comment, and I will respond to all the comments as I always do. So if I pull up the Twitter machine right here, I'm going to go over to my bookmarks, and we'll go back here a bit. So this comes in from a not verified source, but he's quoting other sources, which that's what I use. Man City are seriously interested in Sandro Tonali. This was yesterday as they look to strengthen their midfield, with Silva expected to leave at the end of the season. The club could sign 2 new midfielders. Elliot Anderson, Sandro Tonali remains for top 2 first-choice targets for City. City will also make efforts in signing a fullback and a winger this summer, which that's great. I think we certainly need a right back. We certainly need a winger. We're not getting enough, output from the wingers we have. Who leaves to open up a spot? I think Marmoush probably leaves. I think there's a chance Savinho leaves. Maybe there's a chance Doku leaves. I don't think any of those 3 are world-class, fighting for best winger in the world conversation, which I would like to have at the club. That's just my opinion. So we'll see what names come about for the winger position. The right back position, again, we don't really know names at the moment. Seems like probably not Livramento, so we'll see in the coming days, weeks, months who the names will be. But for the midfield, it looks like the top 2 names are Elliot Anderson and Sandro Tonali. Tonali is an interesting one for me because I like the player. I think he's very good. Do I think he's world-class or could become world-class? I feel like probably not. Feel like he's a level under potentially what Elliot Anderson could become. Elliot Anderson is younger. He's English, which obviously is a premium for an English club. You have to have those homegrown spots. He is at a club where he doesn't need to be there for long for development. Tonali could stay at Newcastle for a long time. They're a big-time club. They have money. Maybe he wants to push for the move because of Champions League, but you could very easily see Newcastle pushing back into Champions League over the next couple of years and Tonali staying, in my opinion. Whereas at Forest, I don't think you're going to be staying there much longer. Anderson is, to me, 100% moving this summer, so signing the up-and-coming young Englishman makes a lot of sense to me. And I like the idea. I think he's probably a like-for-like replacement as you can get for someone like Bernardo Silva, who, to me, I think is 100% leaving the club at the moment. I know there's rumors out there of a contract extension. I don't see that personally. I expect Bernardo to leave, and I expect City to sign Elliot Anderson, as Semi Mukbel later today, actually, this morning, he tweeted out, City are the clear frontrunners to sign Forest's Elliot Anderson at the end of the season, with the midfielder likely to cost a minimum of £80 million. Now, the £80 million part is a bit much, in my opinion. City typically don't approach the 80 million mark. Josko Gvardiol was our second most expensive transfer. I think if we put Grealish out as an outlier where we hit the 100 mil release clause, we haven't done that any other time. We haven't hit 80 mil. Gvardiol was in the 70s for the price tag. 80 is quite a bit of money. I don't, that's not nothing on the books, on the PSR for transfer purposes. So if minimum, Ellie Anderson is 80 million. I imagine Newcastle are also going to ask for 80 million as well. And I don't know that you can splash 80 million on two separate midfielders while also buying a winger and a fullback and potentially a backup goalie, potentially a backup striker. So to me, that seems unlikely. Maybe City are able to do some nice transfer negotiations and they can lower the fee on these two players by sending players the other way. Like Rico Lewis, for instance, was linked to Forest early last summer. He could go the other way, bring the price down a bit. Newcastle are interested in Rico Lewis as well as James Trafford. One of them could go the other way. Maybe that helps with negotiations where we could lower the price a bit. You never know. I just think 80 million for the better of the players, whereas Tonali's probably going to be at minimum, 70, 75. I don't know how likely that is, but the rumors are true and they're out there for sure. Maybe City have all this room in PSR and have no problem spending the money, but to me, I would be wary of these figures. Fabrizio also does confirm City are following Newcastle's Sandro Tonali. Now, uniquely, Tonali's situation is a little bit different, I'll say. Tonali and Bruno G seemingly both potentially want to leave Newcastle this summer. I find it hard to believe there's a world where they sell both of their best two midfielders because they didn't get Champions League, which they probably won't get Champions League, but I don't see that happening where they sell both. Bruno G, I don't think City are going to pay the money for. Maybe they will for Tonali, but another club might pay the money for Bruno G, which would close the door on Tonali as well. So those are things you have to consider. Anderson, to me, is basically a done deal. Tonali, much more questionable, and maybe in the coming weeks, months, we'll see other midfield names brought up because I just think that deal is going to be complicated, and I don't know that, in my opinion anyway, he is a needle mover because Anderson comes in, replaces Bernardo Silva. Rodri, to me, is the other midfielder leaving, as well as Kovacic, but he doesn't really play, and I think Nico O'Reilly has taken his spot already. So if Rodri leaves, Nico G is the replacement for Rodri. You also need Tonali, who's also a 6/8. I don't know if I agree with the fit in that scenario. Maybe you could argue Tonali is better than Nico G. That's possible. It's a fair argument, but if we bring in Tonali, does then Nico G also want to leave because his path is blocked again? So there's a lot of complications with that deal, in my opinion. Further other news, we can move on from the transfers at the moment because those are the two biggest names. But I do think basically Anderson, like I said, is a done deal. Let me know your thoughts on Anderson and Tonali. Actually, I have a comparison here, almost forgot, of the key analytical data between Anderson and Tonali, and it does show basically what my eye test says to me. Anderson is a little bit better generally of a player than him, wins possession far more, maybe not quite the ball carrier he is, but he does more in terms of forward passes, forward pass percentage, key passive, progressive passes. He's almost one of the best in the world at that, as well as possessions won. So to me, Anderson is the one you spend the more money on, and Tonali is maybe a fallback option. I don't know about both. Maybe both, but I lean towards no. Now we can talk about Pep Guardiola, the manager in question. I know a lot of people they lean one way or the other. They're kind of I'm a Pep lifer, Pep forever, I'll never turn on Pep. And that's fine. No problems there. You do what you want. And then there's people who immediately want Pep gone now for some reason, and they'll sack him today, and we'll have Pep Lenders coach the Cup final, and they think we'll be better off. So I think the answer, as it typically is somewhere in the middle. I don't think Pep should go now. I think the conversation should be had at the end of the season. Should Pep want to stay at City another year, his final year, or should we ask him to extend? I feel like a contract extension is the only way forward. Other than that, maybe it is time to pack your bags and step away at the moment where a new voice can come into the dressing room. If you want to stay for the rebuild and the transition, no problems. I'm not going to argue against Pep being our manager, but I don't like the idea of one more year and then we have to find a new manager all this time when we're going to be losing potentially 7 to 10 players this summer. It almost feels like a new era has already begun, and it might just make sense for the club to have a new voice head that era up. But that's my personal opinion. The reporters on Twitter are saying Pep plans to think about what is best for him and his future and what is best for City after the Carabao Cup final, which is interesting because it kind of indicates to me that he's leaning one way, which is probably leaving the club, because you wouldn't be having anything to consider if you were just planning on coming back for another year. What are you considering if you've already decided or leaning that you're not coming back? So that's my personal take. Again, that's from Jack Gorham. Very, very good Man City source as well. Then Fabrizio today, he talks about in his YouTube post, he says, eventually, if Pep decides to leave Man City from now to the end of the season, the name already identified by City to become the next manager at some point remains, according to his information, Enzo Maresca. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm 100% in on Enzo as manager, but I think you could do a lot worse than Enzo Maresca. I personally like Enzo Maresca. He was only at Chelsea for a short time, and I know people will say, the Conference League is a joke, but he didn't qualify them for the Conference League. The manager before qualified them for the Conference League, and he won the Conference League, which he was supposed to do. So, I mean, at least he didn't lose the Conference League. He did go out and win that competition. And then he was in the Club World Cup, the second major competition he was in, and he won that as well. A competition Manchester City were in. I attended 2 of the games, and we did not win. We lost to Al Hilal. Just so we're clear, we did not win that competition, and Enzo led Chelsea, a far less talented team to what Manchester City have, to the Club World Cup title, which I know everybody online hates the Club World Cup. It was actually a pretty cool competition, and they beat PSG in the final. The treble winners, Europe's best, PSG. Just saying, he did win it. So I like the winning style. And then the summer happens, and Enzo, it is widely reported, wanted big name players. He wanted basically proven players, and the board and ownership wanted young project players. And when that happened, he was kind of stuck and didn't like it. He spoke out against the owners, and they sacked him. So to me, Enzo has done a pretty good job given what he had, and he wants to come to a place where they're ready to sign big-time players. He is a hashtag say no to projects like many of you guys are in the chats all the time. Nobody wants these project players. They want ready, proven, ready, world-class immediately players. That's what Enzo Maresca wants as well. So I like that idea personally. He's also done a good job managing Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer was probably at his best under Enzo Maresca, I would say, probably. So I don't know. I think Enzo would be a decent option. Is he my first choice? Probably not. He's probably not my first choice. I think Luis Enrique is probably number 1. Maybe Company, number 2. But Enzo's in the top 4 to 5. So I wouldn't be too upset. Those are the latest rumors going on right now. As more come through, of course, we'll do more videos, of course. And I'll give my thoughts, as you guys are here for. My opinion. Most of it's just my opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comments. Of course, I will respond to all the comments as I always do. And if you're new, hit subscribe. I appreciate it. Hit the like button. Help grow the channel. If you're interested in my social channels, they're all in the channel description here. My social media, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, TikTok, all of it is in there. Check that if you are interested. Discord's really fun. Join it. Chop it up with some City fans. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll be back in the next video. Peace.